Welcome to the next edition of NKAA Entertainment's Wrestling Podcast. You're here with Mr. Psycho, Wheezy.
How you doing?
Some Cuban guy.
What's going on?
Lil Haiti.
Yo.
And Enforcer.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about all things current wrestling related. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Enforcer.
So, a few of the things we're going to be talking about today include the few big returns that we have coming up, the lead up to Survivor Series, as well as the Chris Jericho Kenny Omega match that is going to be coming up. So I figured probably start off with the big returns coming up. We have the Raw 25th anniversary show coming up. Was in January.
January.
And then we also have a couple of returns coming up. Pretty soon here in the next couple weeks. Hopefully within this week. I mean, depending on when this goes out. Roman Reigns is supposed to be coming back, as well as Paige is supposed to be coming back this week as well. So, what are you guys' thoughts?
That was the rumor. Is apparently Paige is supposed to be coming back on Monday night, actually, and looks like that they're probably going to add her to the women's tag match at Survivor Series. It's not like 100% because it's probably, like I said, this is all rumor mill stuff. But yeah, apparently she's been cleared. Actually, I think she was cleared to wrestle a couple of weeks ago, and they just decided that they're putting her back on TV tomorrow. It looks like so. Be on the lookout for Paige return tomorrow. What I think they're most likely going to do is, I know they got the women's triple threat set up tomorrow night on Monday night between Dana Brooke, Bayley, and Mickie James to determine the final spot on that really stacked women's team on the Raw side. And they're most likely going to make it I think they're going to make it a fatal four-way with Paige's return. I can't see them just bringing Paige back and just putting her up against some random jobber or whatever as a return match. Yeah, I think they would have to. It's a pretty high-profile return considering Paige's been out of action for I think 16 months or something like that.
It's on a punishment here.
Really, yeah. It's been it's been a really long time. So, yeah, that's what I think they're going to do, with Paige most likely winning that, because the only other way it can go is, I believe, that it would be, they would probably have Bayley on the team, but Bayley's been kind of on the downward turn. A lot of people are kind of going sour on her, especially the crowd. You could hear it. She's not getting the same kind of reaction as she used to. And I really feel like Paige return going and her being part of the team definitely benefit them. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think putting her on the team will benefit her in the sense that she doesn't have all the pressure on her, right? So we don't know how much ring rust she has. We don't know how winded she's going to get when she's wrestling since she's been out for so long.
Well, she's been at the Performance Center training ever since she got cleared to get back in the ring.
That's true, but most wrestlers say when they're gone for a while that even all the training they do doesn't actually prepare them for being in a match.
So, I definitely see what you're saying.
You take her and you spread out the responsibility amongst the other people in the match.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna take away that spotlight from her.
She could come in and look strong.
Yeah.
Even if she's only there for a couple minutes.
To help her out, since she hasn't been there in a while, she could go against Ellsworth.
Yeah, well, Ellsworth is...
Why not?
He's been... I don't know if you've been watching the videos, but he's been getting, beat up.
He just had a match against
Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Right. But the whole European tour, apparently, the women have just been... They've been beating him up so much that they've run out of finishers to do.
But here's the thing.
They've been doing past wrestler... There was literally a stunner party on Ellsworth last night.
So here's my question.
Lana stunned him. Lana.
Oh,
Lana? Wow.
Yeah.
She's still there?
Yeah.
I thought she was gone.
Talk about a burial.
Wasn't she told, you can't come, we don't want you wrestling anymore, we're sending you somewhere, you're not allowed to wrestle
Somebody's been
anymore.
watching Total Divas. So.
Damn right. My wife loves it. It's not bad. But, you know how much Bella Boob we get to see on that?
All right.
But, all right. So, but my thing is with that, because I was surprised the other night when I saw the match against Ellsworth and Mickie James, or The Irish one, Becky Lynch. I got confused because for the longest time, guys were not allowed to touch the women. Because, back in the Attitude Era, you had women going through tables. And then all of a sudden PG came, guys were not allowed to touch women at all in any type of violent manner.
Well, did
there was no
Ellsworth
matches
even
with it.
get any offense off in that match?
No, he smacked her a couple times. Like, he got on top of her, he was punching her. And she was overselling
Ellsworth, it. Man, that's like
I understand that it's Ellsworth, but in all reality, could that, because even in the past month, there's been another time where it was a mixed tag match.
Yeah.
And a woman actually did a suplex to a guy. And I'm like, oh, are they slowly bringing back guys and women able to be equal enough that they could wrestle each other? Because if that's the case, you're going to start having
they should.
at least like Charlotte being a competition for somebody, some of the Nia Jax going against one of the guys.
I think that if that's what their actual plan is, that plan is mostly for Ronda Rousey. I mean, we know she's training in the Performance Center.
And Shayna Baszler, too. So.
Yeah, I mean, and we know she's training in the Performance Center right now. We know she's going to make it to TV. They didn't sign her to sit on the sides. And here's who many people thought was probably the baddest woman on the planet.
She got knocked out twice.
Yeah, no, I mean, but before that, there were people that said, could she beat so-and-so? Could she beat so-and-so? So maybe they're testing the water now to see what would happen if they had a match between, Ronda Rousey and one of the guys. Maybe just off the top of my head, Dolph Ziggler, right?
I was going to say The Miz.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to Ziggler.
Because, we all remember in the Attitude Era, Al Snow was the Diva champion, the women's champion for a good run. He dressed in drag, but he was
I wouldn't necessarily call that a good run. That was definitely a dark time.
It was funny. It was quite entertaining.
I believe it was the women's champion.
What also was entertaining was Al Snow getting his dog fed to him. That was also entertaining.
That was pretty dark.
Or, Al Snow getting his toy pulled off of Walmart shelves.
Oh, yeah. Al Snow has that, man.
Poor guy.
Poor guy, dude.
Rest in peace, Al Snow.
Well, one thing is we're going to get a thumbs up.
I know. His career.
We're going to get a thumbs up for Mick Foley with all these Al Snow jokes, that's for sure.
I'll make sure to tag Mick.
Good. But the thing is, those of us that grew up watching the Attitude Era, we remember Chyna, and she fought men.
There was a good time where people suspected she was a man.
The Intercontinental Champion and won it from Jeff Jarrett. Right? And that was a really physical match. And it kind of was women could do anything that men could do.
But wasn't Mae Young a hardcore champion at one point?
But now we're talking about like gimmick stuff. Like in terms of like real.
She pinned somebody while they were asleep or whatever.
Chyna, she beat Jeff Jarrett for the title. She fought Chris Jericho.
No, she's the only woman to be in the Royal Rumble.
No, that's not true. There's been a few women in she was the first. She was the first woman in the Royal Rumble.
Who else has been in? I've never seen anybody else.
Beth Phoenix, Karma.
That makes sense. She's built like a man.
I think those are the only two actually. Yeah. Just Beth Phoenix and Karma. But they were both in the Royal Rumble.
But I mean,
but she was the first. Chyna was the first.
If they're really prepping for, the UFC fighters to come in, the former UFC fighters, here you have fans that are, that follow them in UFC and would honestly believe if they were to get into a fight with a man, they could win.
Well, yeah, remember the whole Ronda Rousey versus Mayweather. People were jonesing for that.
Yeah, the whole issue with like bringing in these UFC fighters, particularly Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. I'm sure they're going to probably get all four of the horsewomen in because I'm sure they want to do like 4 horsewomen of the UFC against 4 horsewomen of WWE sometime soon, probably WrestleMania, around WrestleMania time. That you run into the problem of believability. And it's like do you guys really think that like Bayley can fight Ronda Rousey like in a real match? You know what I mean? So it's like, and it gets to the point of believability with the women as opposed to the men, because really the only man that is capable of that kind of comparison is Brock Lesnar. So because Brock Lesnar's really the only one that was legitimately a UFC heavyweight and one of the best.
What about Ken Shamrock?
Well, Ken Shamrock too, but that was a while ago, and you could probably say like guys like Dan Severn or Steve Blackman, like legit tough guys. But at the same time, they're trying to make it so that the women are around like this. They're at the same level as the men, but if you bring in these UFC women, who we all know can just destroy or run through anybody on the female roster, and I think it becomes kind of a problem. And I feel like you kind of have to start grooming them to like maybe wrestle some other guys or something like that. And then but then in turns it also, I feel like it will also hurt the women's division, because then you're basically saying that only these women can compete with the men.
Well,
like, only the UFC women can compete with the men. The rest of the roster can.
In all reality, we know wrestling is scripted. So any of the women could take on the match with a man.
Yeah,
it's got to be somewhat believable.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see Alexa Bliss go bring down Bray Wyatt. That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
it's just too huge.
Like Naomi against Braun Strowman. That's
right.
not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But if you told me that you're going to put Charlotte or a Naomi or Natalia up against Miz, some of the smaller guys, size-wise, who are smaller, I don't see why we couldn't start having good matches.
A lot of the women can have good matches, especially like like a lot of these women that were working in the independent circuit were wrestling guys.
Oh, yeah.
So you have competitors like the ones that were in the Mae Young Classic, like Candice LeRae and Mercedes Martinez, and these women, they fought men regularly and they had really excellent matches with them. Candice LeRae had excellent matches with like Cedric Alexander and stuff like that. So I feel like if you were to do that, maybe you can do it against some of the cruiserweight guys. I think that would work, because they would legitimately have good matches. I really do. Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome, dude. I would love to see Nia Jax squash Enzo. That would be amazing. So, but like, yeah, I mean, I honestly think they should. I think the whole issue of the men facing the women, obviously comes back to the whole domestic abuse issues that they have with it.
Right.
But I feel like they're at that level where I feel like it would be okay for them to be wrestling the men, because I feel like they should. Because there's not reason they're not doing super violent stuff anymore. It's just pure wrestling matches. So obviously the whole issue again runs into their target audience, which is kids, and they don't want kids emulating this stuff
on the playground. Come here, Sarah. Throw you off this.
But at the same time, it's a double standard, because it's not just little boys that are watching wrestling. Little girls are watching wrestling too.
Yes.
So it's like you can't.
A big population of little girls.
Yeah, if
you see an audience, it's big.
Yeah, if you're segregating the two, what do you think is going to happen in the mind of little kids? That's like, oh well, I can only fight other girls, or I can't fight like a boy or something like that. You know what I mean?
So all in all, what it comes down to is that WWE needs to just bring it back. It's basically it's time for it, especially with the women's revolution. It's time for them to start making it okay for women and men to compete against each other.
It has to be organic, though. I think if they do it organically, it's not going to hurt either division. And again, I already talked about China, but if you go back and look at her early on, she didn't get involved. But there came a point where the fans knew how tough she was, how strong she was, and it didn't make sense for her to be relegated simply to the women's division. And that's when she kind of took the step out and started doing other things. And as long as they do it like that, I mean, obviously you're not going to have even someone like Ronda Rousey come in and say, oh, you know what, you were a UFC star, well, so was this guy, and then now you're fighting Brock Lesnar. Like, obviously, that's
why weight classes exist. So it's like, they don't want the...
Yeah, but WWE selectively follows weight classes.
Yeah. The thing that I'm most curious about that kind of branches out of this conversation we've been having is, are we going to start to see a little more realism in WWE in the sense that there are some characters, there are some wrestlers whose characters are goofy. You don't really find them intimidating, but if you know anything about them, like they have a background where they could be professional athletes in the sense that they could be in UFC, they could have been a boxer, they could have done all of these things where their passion pulled them in a different direction. We start to see a little bit of that?
I mean, in reality, you see that. You've been seeing that for years from, like, Undertaker. Undertaker, like, he's got this whole big dead man thing, but then he has that when he starts that boxing, where he starts punching, like, and he's even said that if he was in his 20s now, he'd be doing UFC fighting. He wouldn't be wrestling. So I mean, it's there. The guys that they do usually see coming out, but I don't think it's going to be like a main attention part of it.
Well, I meant more along the lines of, last year, maybe a year and a half ago, when Conor McGregor was talking a lot about how no one in the WWE is a real athlete and they can't, fight him and no one can hold a candle to him. I know a lot of what he was saying was talk, but one of the people that got most upset in WWE was Dolph Ziggler. And Ziggler's like, you need to understand that a lot of us were collegiate wrestlers. We were champions. We did all these things. We had different things we could do, but we chose to do this because it was our passion. And again, I understand it's talk, but maybe we start to see a little bit more of those skills
McGregor comes in thinking like essentially everybody's a stuntman in the industry. Like they're just doing jumps and they're stuntmen, not the reality that like Kurt Angle, they're a legit wrestler.
Which is weird because then I remember he said that and then he turned around and said, "Well, I don't respect any wrestlers, but I only respect like Ric Flair." So I'm like Ric Flair was like he's the greatest professional wrestler of all time, but he wasn't theatrical. He was like easily one of the most
the spectacle.
The most theatrical was definitely Hulk Hogan.
But then you got to remember
he's not even close.
But you got to remember that this is McGregor talking, and then we saw all the talking he did against Mayweather, and he said some of the most ignorant stuff. So I think he says those things for the attention, that shock value, like the Howard Stern, Howard Stern. He just says it and just get that reaction.
Remember, there's several former football players in WWE, and I think if McGregor was holding a football, he wouldn't want Roman Reigns to revert to his previous career and actually spear him.
Go back to the whole Eric Bischoff controversy creates cash. That whole deal is what happened with McGregor. He knew that if he stirred up enough, they would make a crap ton of money, and that's exactly what happened for as short of a fight as it was.
Yeah. So, all right. Well,
are we going to talk about the 25th anniversary?
Yeah, I was going to say let's go ahead and that's an excellent transition.
Yeah, sorry for getting that off track with the women fighting men. Yeah. My apologies.
No, that's fine because it needs to be discussed because it seems like that's the direction that they're heading. But as far as the big 25th anniversary of Raw, huge milestone just in television history, honestly. Because there's not many shows, period, just not on network and cable that have been around as long as Raw's been around.
Yeah, if you take daytime soap operas out, Raw's right behind Simpsons.
Yeah.
For longest running primetime broadcast,
episodic, whatever.
Yeah.
It runs all the
I got a couple things I want to say about this first, since I don't
some predictions and stuff.
Since I don't really watch as much wrestling as I used to, it's just hard to follow it. I'm not as attached before, but these big shows always get me excited because I want the older guys to come back. For me, that's a really big deal. I like seeing the guys I grew up watching. I'm honestly hoping, and I think I've said this in other podcasts before, I'm a huge Hogan fan, and there's been rumors recently that WWE is reaching out. They're adding a little bit of Hogan video into packages again. They're mentioning him in promos. They have things on WWE Network. Some of their advertisements show Hogan now where they weren't before. Mm-hmm. And the rumor is they've been reaching out to sponsors, seeing how the sponsors feel. And I would love to tune into the 25th anniversary of Raw and have Hogan come out. I think that would be amazing for me. I would really be excited.
Yeah, like as big, as big a star as he was, it was really sad to see, how far he fell after the whole, video scandal, because that was, obviously that was really, it was like a huge shocker to a lot of wrestling fans seeing, that kind of side of Hogan. But at the same time, it's like, he's been super remorseful about it. He's constantly said on interviews and television and stuff like that. That's like the biggest regret that he's ever had was having that moment, which he did think it was a private moment, but that doesn't excuse what he said. Obviously, what he said was very very derogatory, very disturbing and offensive. But I really do feel like after all the stuff that he's gone through, and basically being blackballed from just the entire industry, just because of the statement. It's I don't know. I'm kind of torn because I do want to see him back in the ring, but it's like I kind of understand that maybe some people, a lot of fans, aren't ready for him to come back. So it's difficult. It really is a difficult situation. So especially bringing him back on TV, because it's like from WWE standpoint, it's like, do we really want this guy who said all this stuff, representing what our brand basically? Because if you're going to have him on TV, he's going to be representing your brand, because that's what he is. So he represents the history of WWE. So I don't know. It is a difficult situation.
That's why I think it's so important, though. Like, I mean, when you're having the 25th anniversary of Raw, like, you got to have Hogan there. I mean, who else? You can't bring a Macho Man. He's gone. You can't bring an Ultimate Warrior. He's gone. There's so few of those guys left.
That's the other thing too, is that we're not even mentioning it, but I mean, WWE, they've basically promoted the hell out of Ultimate Warrior, and Ultimate Warrior said way worse things than I mean, he's gone on record of saying some really despicable stuff about homosexuals and like all this other stuff. Talking about how certain people that got AIDS deserve it, all this other terrible stuff that he said, but WWE's response is, well, we're talking about the character. It's like, well, why can't you do the same thing with Hulk Hogan then?
Because
you know what I mean?
I would assume it's because of the world we live in now.
Yeah, but
that's why. Because because the stuff that he went, that his gibberish was before what people call the over, PC-ness.
Yeah, but it's still super hypocritical.
No, of course it is. I agree, but I'm just saying. But I think that's why Hogan is being used kind of like the example. Like, oh, this is what we're in now. This is how the world is now. We have to handle this.
Yeah, but it's not. The thing is that it wasn't the first time with Hogan. Hogan had come back after doing all the crap going to WCW, and then he had the scandal with his wife, with cheating on his wife and all that. Then he had the scandal with the N-word stuff. It seemed like it wasn't. I mean,
let's be serious. The only reason that he's been like kind of blackballed is because of that video.
Yeah,
that's really it. WWE does not care about all his other stuff.
Yeah, stuff between him and his wife.
Yeah, they don't care about that.
They don't care about the WCW because that's the business back then. People bouncing back and forth.
I'm not saying anything about I'm saying once he came back from WCW, like that's when all that stuff started, and then he left TV. He had the reality show.
Yeah. He's a very Hogan himself is just a very polarizing figure.
Yeah.
So it's and this is even without all the video stuff that happened. He himself, with all the backstage politicking that he used to do, and he's a very polarizing figure, amongst the wrestling community. But I mean, that doesn't change the fact that he is one of the biggest icons, if not the biggest icon in the history of the business. And I feel like him being a part of the 25th anniversary of Raw is a necessity. Like, I feel like he should be part of that show.
I mean, I follow him on Instagram, and for Halloween, he was posting pictures of all the people dressed up as Hulk Hogan, and he had a lot of people.
Oh no, people still love the guy.
I still love the guy.
And that's where I think, like I said, with the over politically correctness that we're in right now, because the general wrestling fan, I don't think cares. It's not that they don't care; they could separate Hogan from the video versus Hogan they grew up with and Hogan in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the people that aren't the fans that can't do that. They don't understand that there's two different people when you have the character versus the real person.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem that WWE's trying to make right with those people. Because the fans, I think if you bring Hogan out tomorrow night, the place is going to go apeshit and it's going to go off the roof. People are going to cheer like crazy no matter what he said.
I feel like God damn it. But no, I do feel what you're saying, Weezy. But it's like I said with my previous point, with the Ultimate Warrior is if they're gonna do something with the Ultimate Warrior where they're basically saying, oh, we ignore all the stuff that he said on a personal note because that was all his personal views, but they're separating essentially the character from the person. They're not doing the same thing with Hogan. But I feel like the reasoning though is a little bit different because of the average wrestling fan doesn't know all the stuff that Warrior said.
But because he disappeared.
Yeah.
But the other thing is
Hogan lives that persona.
the difference between Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan is that if Ultimate Warrior was still alive, he wouldn't be what he is now. But he's dead.
Yeah.
And he died after appearing on Raw. It was such a separation from WWE. From WWE for so long, for so many years. And then they finally had a reconciliation between Vince and Ultimate Warrior. He was honored with the Hall of Fame. He got to give a speech. He showed up on Raw. And then the very next day, he died. So it was just... And again, I'm not saying it's good that he died because I like the Ultimate Warrior as well. But it's... The reason he is what he is now to WWE, he's got that award named after him, he's got all these things going on, is because he passed away. So they can say, listen, he said all these terrible things, but he disappeared, he wasn't part of the wrestling community, nobody associated it, not even him, and then he came back and he made right and he died. So the last thing we had was he was giving his all to the wrestling community and then tragically passed away, and... we have to honor him. Well, if Hogan were to pass away tomorrow, or let's say, and I don't want this to happen, obviously, but if Hogan,
we don't want Hogan to die.
What you say?
Yeah, it's 2017.
if Hogan were to pass away tonight, I guarantee you, Monday night on Raw, there would be a huge tribute to Hulk Hogan.
Absolutely.
Everyone would come out. They'd be playing his theme. They'd be playing all his videos. There'd be a whole page on WWE Network with all of Hogan's matches. It would be like he was never scrubbed free from the company. But if we go back just a couple of short years ago, he was scrubbed out of everything.
Yeah,
in WWE.
like could you say this? I mean, I don't know if I could say the same thing if that were to happen a couple of years ago, because of how bad the backlash was. If Hogan would have, passed away around the same time as that happening, would they have done the same thing? I don't think so.
No. I don't know, because they treated him just like Chris Benoit.
Yeah, they basically just Chris Benoit.
They're like, yo, you dropped the N-bomb, you might as well have killed your whole family.
Yeah, like it was.
Like,
it's so sad that they equated the two, but it's true.
They treated the exact same outcome from it. It's horrible.
Yeah, but I don't know. I definitely would like to see Hogan back at the 25th. I think now is probably the appropriate time to bring him back, and
that's my prediction. It'd be cool to hear everyone else. Like, you give one person you think will be there and one person you'd like to be there, but you don't know. I think it'd be cool if we all did that. So Hogan's my guy as the one I want to see there.
All right.
My other guy would probably be The Rock. I think The Rock will show up. I think that's pretty much a given.
Okay.
No, I want to see Austin only if he goes out and stuns people. If he's just going to come out and talk, I mean, I appreciate him talking. He's great on the mic. But if he comes out to talk, The Rock better be there with him. They better have a nice promo between each other. If he doesn't stun somebody, it's a waste of Austin.
My ideal scenario is Enzo Amore. Starts his whole spiel. Starts doing a 5-minute long stupid ass Enzo promo. All of a sudden you just hear the glass shatter. You see Austin just walking down the ring like he always does. Gets in the ring. Enzo's like, oh man, and then he just gets a stunner. And then Austin just turns around and leaves.
I mean, Austin's known for on these anniversaries coming out and just stunning people.
Yeah, that would be the ideal. Just please give Enzo a stunner.
I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Just give Enzo a stunner. Have him leave the ring. For the fans will probably chant one more time. He'll stop. He'll turn around, give another stunner. Probably drink some beer.
I'll give it to Enzo. He's very. I don't like to say he's very good on the mic. He's entertaining on the mic. He's quick-witted.
No, he's great. He's great on the mic.
He's quick-witted.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Enzo out there start one of his spiels, and then The Rock come out.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
And The Rock put him in his place with and you know how The Rock likes to improvise.
Yeah.
And The Rock come out, improvise to a point where Enzo just has nothing he can say.
Enzo will be outmatched. Enzo will be outmatched the moment The Rock's music hits. Mainly because The Rock can literally say whatever the hell he wants.
Yep.
He has no repercussions.
No filter.
It does not matter what he says. So, pun not intended.
But
with Mick Foley, he's like, Mick, you trust me? You rocked Bobby last year. Nobody remembers that.
But then going back to Mr. Psycho's idea, I mean, I'd love to see Stone Cold, and if he comes out and starts stunning people, that'd be great. But the one that I think
he's got to have a beer, and Angle's got to have a milk, and they'll have a toast together. That's got to happen.
I'd be down with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one I think that is kind of a given would be The Rock. Because The Rock, as much as people like to kind of write him off because he's gone Hollywood, he's still there. He comes back when it's necessary, when he has a chance, not just to promote a movie. He does come back. He does love wrestling usually, for the most part that I've noticed.
Yeah.
He clearly enjoys.
I'll stab you.
He clearly enjoys being there.
Yeah. My predictions, well, not really so much a prediction, but one that's probably most likely slated to be there. I think he is actually slated to be there. Is The Undertaker. So The Undertaker most likely will be showing up at the 25th anniversary. What he's going to be doing, I don't know. Is he going to be in character? I don't know. I would assume so because he's gone like 30 years protecting that character. So even after quote unquote retirement, I feel like he probably would still be coming back in character.
Except for when he goes to the subway.
Well, I don't know what he's going to be doing. Maybe he'll like do like some kind of competition with like Braun Strowman or something like that. Maybe teasing a match. I don't know. So because with the Undertaker, we don't know what he's going to do. It's very possible that he could have another WrestleMania match. Nobody knows.
I think he should be done.
I think he should be done too, personally. But like I said, you never know because I mean he's Vince's golden boy.
Blood.
Yeah.
Right, so
and then the other one I feel like would be a very emotional return, and one that would be necessary is Ric Flair.
Yep.
And
There you go.
especially after all the stuff that he's been through, just seeing him, in good spirits back in the ring, maybe doing something with his daughter or something like that. I think that'd be super awesome.
maybe
Chopping the elbow on his own jacket.
maybe I'm an ass. I'd love to see Ric Flair come back, but I guess I never felt Ric Flair was gone. I guess because the last thing he was there, he was helping Charlotte, and then he went away. Obviously, he went through his troubles that he had, and she's always been there. I think because I hear the name still with Charlotte, I never kind of thought, hey, Rick hasn't been here in a while.
He almost died.
Yeah, no.
So it's like that's my whole thing is, the guy literally almost died, and I feel like it'd be really really cool just to hear his music and have him come out, all in good spirits.
Yeah, especially.
I don't know if you guys watched the 30 for 30.
I haven't seen it
Not
yet.
yet.
But I need to watch
Oh man, yeah, you guys need to watch that because that it was a really 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 good film.
So.
But yeah, those are my predictions. I think Undertaker and Ric Flair for sure should be good.
How about you, Little
I
Haiti?
see Flair. I think Shawn Michaels is already confirmed. So there's going to be some fun promos or backstage segments that go on.
Maybe Stan will get kicked again.
Hey,
You know who Stan was?
Yeah.
Ty Dillinger. I did not know
I
that.
didn't know to release that. All on
I
Facebook.
didn't realize it
If
until
Facebook's tell the truth.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, you see in the video, like
Ty Dillinger was on Raw. That would be the greatest backstage segment.
didn't I kick you once?
You kicked him so hard, you made him a professional wrestler.
It would be so hilarious if the skit is just you see Shawn Michaels walking backstage and like the camera's on him and like Cole's like, come to the ring, Shawn Michaels coming up next, and then it just stops and Shawn's just like looking at someone and the camera turns and it's just Ty Dillinger there. Ty Dillinger's like at catering, just looking at Shawn and just starts backing away slowly and just runs.
Or he kicks Shawn Michaels.
No, he runs, and then later on they show another scene. You see Ty Dillinger like coming out from like his dressing room, like real scared, like opens the door and just a foot kicks him through the door opening.
And then Triple H walks up. Shawn, what are you doing? I thought that guy looked familiar.
I thought that was Stan.
Yeah, he just shows him or shows him pointing to the guy. Stan? It's Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What's your name? Stan?
That'd be a great moment.
Who else?
There's going to be a lot of fun promos, though. To have a lot of those personalities back in the building.
Hopefully.
I mean, Shawn Michaels was pretty much confirmed, so there's going to be him and Triple H at some point.
Well, there's a recent video of Shawn Michaels sniping Undertaker.
That is true.
Oh yeah, from the show. Yeah.
Well, that'd be another interesting.
Finally got his revenge.
That'd be an interesting in the ring promo.
Let it go. I'll never let it go.
Oh man. Harry predictions?
I'm
Or
extremely I'm honestly after that video we were just talking about. I saw that the other day, and I'm extremely excited to see Shawn Michaels again. For who I want to see Mick. Definitely want to see Mick Foley. he's been away for a while. He's not GM anymore.
Be a nice interaction between him and like Kurt Angle. That'd be both awkward and cool.
Yeah, that's my one.
I got it.
What?
Austin comes back.
Oh no!
Hold on.
Oh.
He brings a little cowboy hat and a sheriff's badge and gives it to Angle.
That'd be great.
There's just so much interaction people could have with it. They need to have it all.
Jimmy crack corn and I don't care.
Just an endless stream of familiar people visiting Angle all night.
I got Olympic gold.
I honestly, I just want to see some of the interactions with like some of the younger talent. I think that'd be really, really cool.
I'd also love to see everyone in DX. Like, I would love to see DX, and I think it would be cool for us to have the moment we never got to have before. If they bring Hogan back, have DX and NWO, like, stare each other down.
All right, we had that, though.
No, but that's...
WrestleMania,
You're breaking your own rule. You said one... You'd like to see it one, you know is going to be there.
Yeah, but that's one I know is never going to happen. I can add that one to it.
That already happened, though.
Yeah, like they don't get to bring up back a whole group. At least with DX, you have to bring back like one person, right?
Yeah, like Kevin Nash tore his quad again.
He's about to have knee surgery again, so...
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I don't want them to. I don't want them to fight. I don't want it to be a physical thing. But I thought that was the biggest thing I thought that they missed when the two companies joined together. They had an opportunity to have an awesome moment that they let pass by, and I think is kind of like a nod to the fans. They could be walking down the hall. You have guys wearing DX shirts, guys wearing NWO shirts, just kind of like a look. I'm not asking for like a big interaction or a giant brawl backstage, just kind of like an acknowledgement sort of deal.
Nice.
Maybe Shield walks down the center like the guys are on one side of the hall, and Shield walks down the center as they're heading to the ring, and they look to the left, they look to the right. What's their problem, right? It's just kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of comment as they walk past.
At that moment, is Triple H part of Shield or DX?
Jeez, we don't know.
We
really don't know that.
Decisions ever.
Yeah, I don't understand the house show decisions. I don't understand a lot of. I mean, let's be serious. We really understand any booking anymore in WWE.
No.
We're not supposed to acknowledge house shows, guys.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool to see them out
let's change the world title. So yeah.
So speaking of Shield, we'll kind of move on before we go on to the Survivor Series predictions. Roman's coming back sometime for Survivor Series.
It should be this week.
Should be this week.
It should be this week. We'll see. I mean, we don't know exactly, but
well, no. Last week they said that next week the return of Roman Reigns.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Like
throughout the week, like they do the pro, like just general commercials.
Yeah.
They were hyping that it was a return of the big dog.
So he's going to be coming back. Possible Shield versus New Day hype.
We have John Cena coming back apparently. So apparently he's back on SmackDown. So
yeah, that to me.
How will we know?
What do you mean? It was announced.
Yeah, but I mean, once he gets there, how do we know?
How do we
just a default cutout?
Like we won't see him.
The cardboard cutout.
Apparently, it's a handicap match. Survivor Series.
So Survivor Series predictions coming up. What's going on with Survivor Series?
I'm looking up the match card right now.
I'm looking forward to the match that starts with "Oh, Shield, don't you dare be sour." I'm looking forward to that match.
I think it could be a good match. Shield versus New Day, like it's an interesting dynamic. We already know that match. I mean, technically the match hasn't been signed yet, but it's gonna happen because they've been teasing it like crazy. And now that Roman's back, it's probably for sure thing. Unless they like do something where I don't know, Roman somehow put on the Survivor Series Raw team, which I don't think is gonna happen.
Terrible.
Yeah, it'd be a bad decision. I don't see that happening. And Shield versus New Day is just cool. That'd just be a cool match to watch. But yeah, no, I think as far as who's going to win that match, it'd be probably the Shield because they're probably still going to be protecting Roman.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
So
it looks like, looking here, we've got 7 matches.
7 matches
for the
so far.
evening.
Okay, let's go down the list.
So the first match is a women's match. Yeah, Alexa Bliss versus. It says SmackDown's champion. It doesn't give me a name.
It's Natalya.
Is that who it is?
Currently, it's Natalya. Yeah.
That makes me think that they might be changing it beforehand. If they're not putting.
No, I'm pretty sure it's still going to be Natalya and Alexa Bliss because I don't think there's any there's no women's title match, I think,
Okay.
scheduled for SmackDown. So I don't know that match. I'm sure it'll be just a whatever match.
I mean, to me, it's nothing exciting about it.
Yeah.
Natalia,
Alexa's fine. Natalia's fine. It should just be like.
I'm not gonna lie, I have not liked Alexa Bliss. I thought she was annoying. Her character she brought on, but like I said, the wife likes to watch Total Divas.
Yeah, I think
and she's on that.
Yeah, I think her
and I
character's
love her
great.
now.
I mean,
Alexa Bliss is amazing.
I think Alexa Bliss's character is great, but it's just her in ring's kind of whatever. She's good on the mic, and then Natalia's better than Alexa in the ring, but Natalia's like awful on the mic. So it's like I don't know. It's like whatever.
I guess my not like or dislike and like for her was that when she came, the person she portrays as character, I just didn't like her as that, and I never knew of her beforehand, so I didn't know that she was anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing her on the Diva show, seeing that she's the complete opposite of her character, I was like, oh, so she plays a really good, stuck up bitch on the show.
Yeah.
But in the reality, she's not like that at all. So now I actually like her because she's just not being herself.
My prediction for the match is probably going to be I think Alexa Bliss is probably going to win, and that'll probably be the end of it. So I don't know.
Anybody else have a different? Everybody agree with this?
As far as that goes, I mean,
Natalia should win, but probably won't.
I care more about the women's tag match than I do about this match. So
Just from a booking perspective, you can't have Natalia win. Everyone knows that Natalia knows her stuff. She's good. She's trained in the Heart Dungeon. We all know that.
yeah, she's a vet.
Her character doesn't need to be protected. But if you look at the women's division on Raw and you look at how stacked that division is, if you have Natalia go over Alexa, then you've pretty much completely weakened your women's champion on Raw.
You totally bury
Because
the women's division on
if
Raw.
Alexa can't beat Natalia, then how does she beat Nia Jax? How does she beat
She doesn't.
Asuka? How does she beat all these different people on Raw? So you have to have a level of believability, and that's the problem with booking.
But to argue that's why I think it could go with Natalia, because she hasn't gone against Nia Jax like on a fair one-on-one. They're friends, that they play that whole card. And then the new girl, the Asuka or whatever.
Yeah.
She hasn't gone against her. She's not going to defeat her.
No,
she's going to lose to her anyways.
I mean, they messed up on Asuka's debut already. Like when she fought Emma, like they should have just had her run through Emma. Who? Who'd
she fight?
She fought Emma,
Who's that?
the Australian
The girl
girl.
I don't know who that is.
Oh,
There's no being WWE in that.
Well, not anymore. So, but they already messed up big time on her debut. They should have just had her just run completely through Asuka instead.
Yeah, that match went way too long.
It went too long. It made Asuka look very weak, and it just didn't make any sense. And now Emma's gone, so it's like it made that decision even worse.
But she did so poorly in that match that they got rid of her.
Yeah, it was so. No, it was more things than that. But
no, I'm just saying, like that's what it seems like. Like you did that bad. The same thing like with Lana. She did so poorly that you're done.
All right. So what's the next match on the card?
The next was an Intercontinental, I believe.
Oh, Baron Corbin against The Miz.
Yes, that's it.
Another one I don't really care too much about.
I don't care at all.
Mainly because Baron Corbin's in the match, not so much The Miz. Because The Miz is actually entertaining. He's been actually pretty entertaining the past few weeks. The whole Braun Strowman angle.
No, Miz is annoying as shit, and I think.
But that's good. That's
his
good.
character.
Well, another part is that now my brother decided that he's going to train to be a wrestler.
Oh, okay.
So he's been going to gym, working out. And he wants his character to be very Miz-like. So he's been acting like the Miz, and I want to stab him. It's really annoying.
How many times?
Oh, literally at least 38 times. At least. So I think just because when I do get together with family and he's there, I get an overdose of Miz because it drives me crazy. Like Miz needs to go back to when his dad got stabbed on TV, and we'll be all right.
That really happened? I don't remember that.
That didn't really happen.
The Bad Real World.
The Dave Chappelle show, man. Come on.
Oh, right.
The Mad Real World.
I didn't remember that. Yeah, Matt's. I don't really care. They're probably going to do some weird finish, like a double DQ or something like that. That's how I feel like most of these.
This is the problem with
champion versus champion matches.
With this whole entire pay-per-view is there's no repercussions for anybody winning. And
there's no reward.
You're right.
There's no reward.
There's no title change. There's no nothing.
Yeah,
it's just bragging rights, which nobody cares because you got heels and faces on the same side, and then after this is over, they go back to
what would be an interesting way to do it. So the interbrand match, like the Dallas and Miz, or the champion versus champions, right?
Yeah.
The winning champion decides if he wants to stay there or go to the other brand, and that the person that loses has no choice with what the other person chooses.
And that's kind of what they did with.
That way, you have
draft.
2 championships. No, but you have 2 championships, and then so Miz wins or whoever, the one wins. He's like, you know what? I want to go to the other brand. So he goes, and then that title that the other one comes over. So the title still moves, so you still have the champions, but I won't be on this roster now.
Back the last time they separated the brands, when they first separated the brands after the acquisition of WCW and ECW, that's what they did. When you beat the Royal, or when you beat the Royal Rumble, when you won the Royal Rumble, you could choose what you wanted to do, and there were certain matches where you could choose what you wanted to do, which title you wanted to go for,
right?
On whatever brand.
They had an interbrand match where one person was champion, one person was not, and whoever won that match was champion for whichever brand.
Yeah,
right. I'm saying just for these matches that are champion versus champion, like you said, because there's no repercussion. If you lose, you lose. That would be an interesting way to do it. Like, hey, now you lost, you might be moving company without.
Yeah, no, you're right. It would make it. I would be more inclined to watch it if that's how it was.
Yeah, as it currently stands, I just feel like this pay-per-view is going to be a huge disappointment. It's all going to be, at least all the champion matches are all going to have really screwy finishes. Probably to protect either the wrestler or just the championship itself.
Essentially, what it is with how it's coming down to, it's like if you have a comic of DC versus Marvel, they're not going to have Batman beat Iron Man. Like, it's going to be like a tie.
Yeah,
like, it's going to be all right. Yeah,
cleanly.
They're both as good as you remember them being. Nobody's better than the other one.
I'm sure. I'm sure every match is not going to end in a disqualification or count out, but I feel like
it's most of the
matches. There'll be really weird booking decisions, and people will lose not clean.
Or if they do lose clean, it would be clean, but the match would be such a good one. Like, at any chance, either one of them could have easily won that. If it was next week, so and so could win that, no problem. Not like a complete destruction.
But anyway, as far as prediction for that match for the Miz against Baron Corbin, I
think it's gonna be Miz.
I'll probably say Miz. Yeah, I'll probably say Miz is gonna win that.
Baron Corbin needs to give Gangrel his pants back.
All right.
Years later, he still needs to give those pants back.
This is our 3rd wrestling podcast. And the 3rd time that's come up. You really have a thing about guys' pants.
Listen.
Corbin.
I saw Baron Corbin in NXT.
No,
I understand, but
for the listeners here, tell them the story. Go ahead.
Okay. I saw Baron Corbin in NXT with some Cuban guy. Right, and
at a live event.
Yeah, at a live event, and he just... First of all, I don't know how he got as far as he did, but the thing that stood out to me more than anything was it honestly looked like he just stole Gangrel's pants. Like, if Gangrel was walking down the street, he's like, "Hey, boy, give me those pants!" Corbin took them, right? So, of course, I shouted at him,
that's
"Hey!"
What people do. They just walk down the street stealing people.
Give me them pants.
I'm like, "Hey! Give Gangrel his pants back." And Baron Corbin, he didn't even understand what I was talking about. Like, he didn't even know who Gangrel was.
He looked dead at you and says, "I can't hear what you're saying, stupid."
Yeah. I mean, it's just... I can't stand it.
But then earlier, before we started recording, it was brought up that Mr. Psycho has a problem with Jericho not wearing pants also. He really has a thing for pants.
That's a whole other issue we'll talk about later.
Corbin's pants and Jericho's pants. Issues.
And by later, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, right.
Jericho,
Nope.
We're not getting into that.
Moving on to match 3.
7 years old, and he's got to wear pants.
So moving on to match 3, we've got
Vince McMahon coming down to the ring in shorts because he's smarter than that.
No, because Triple H always grabs him and stops him.
All right.
So match 3 we have is the traditional, the men's 5-on-5.
All right.
The elimination match.
So what's Team SmackDown again? So it's basically Shane's team against Kurt Angle's team.
So you have
in the match.
Yeah. So you've got Raw is Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and Jason Jordan for some dumb reason.
Well, because Kurt Angle's his father, so he's got
right. No, I'm bringing in all reality. He shouldn't be there.
The real reason was because it was originally supposed to be Roman Reigns' slot, but obviously Roman's was out, so they needed a backup plan, so they just fit in Jason Jordan. So
and then you have Team SmackDown as Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Rude, my bad. And then Nakamura and Cena.
So it's going to be clearly that Team Raw wins.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Strowman.
Yeah, you're building Strowman to be unstoppable. I mean, you put him in a trash in a trash truck,
compactor, and he comes
right?
back a week later.
Yeah,
you literally murdered him.
So guys, let's do
and the very next week he rises up in front of Mrs. Limo's like Jesus.
If Cena comes out wearing a green T-shirt and 4 different colored bands on his arms of red, blue, orange, and purple, could he defeat Braun Strowman?
No, because you couldn't see him.
What's he gonna do? Throw his bands at Strowman? I mean,
Does nobody?
Well, you're not understanding the reference of a
you guys.
trash can, shredder, turtles. This is going over your head.
Does nobody-
it doesn't matter.
Does nobody know how a trash?
It's not gonna happen.
How garbage
Shredder
truck actually
survived.
works?
He got beat again.
Yeah, the Shredder's not Braun
Does
Strowman.
nobody know how a garbage truck
Goddamn
actually
shredder.
works?
It is a super shredder.
Like, all it does is scoop the person into the giant truck park. There's no actual compacting at all.
No, but he got compacted though.
So,
You know, but
as soon as I saw it, I was like,
but
really?
Strowman got compacted.
He got something
And then
posted.
it was so funny, like trying to hear like Michael Cole trying to explain it. No, because Corey Graves was the one that was like, "Yo, he's dead."
He's dead.
And Michael Cole's like, "No, he's hurt. He's hurt. He's seriously hurt." He's like, "No, he's dead. He was crushed."
Still, Shredder didn't die. Strowman
But
didn't die.
Strowman apparently can survive literally anything.
Yeah.
He can. He's like super. He can like tank if the universe exploded. Strowman would come back the very next week and cut a promo. He would cut a promo on him screaming at the Big Bang saying, "I'm not finished with you."
But didn't Hawk from LOD climb the Titantron and fall off and die and come back like a week later?
I don't think so. The only other
He got
other
drunk?
character that's ever died and came back is Paul Bearer.
That's
true.
true. Multiple times.
Multiple times.
I feel like Kane's died a few times.
No, Kane's never died.
He's been
Not like
dragged-
Paul Bearer.
He's been
Dragged to hell.
through the ring. Remember?
Well, the Big Show was dragged to hell through
Oh,
the ring.
that's-
Yeah.
yeah.
No, he was chokeslammed to hell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
it was
we
like-
all know the Undertaker is the dead man, so he's dead.
But in none of those instances,
Or buried alive.
were they compacted by a garbage
Vince.
truck. So.
Vince's limo blew up.
Yeah, that's true. Vince
Yeah,
died too.
but
But
all right.
that was Rikishi. And he did it
Yeah,
for
and
The
then
Rock.
literally the next week is like, no.
No, Rikishi hit Stone Cold.
He did.
Yeah,
I did it for the Rock.
But didn't
did it.
Stone Cold?
for the people.
But didn't Stone Cold get bit in the face by a rattlesnake from Triple H?
No.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, Macho Man's been bit by a cobra and he lived, so...
No, but the whole thing was that Stone Cold was being was Triple H was like tormenting him or DX, and they showed Stone Cold in an office laying down, and there was a rattlesnake next to him, and it was supposed to strike him. It's in the face.
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
a
a
long
stupid
time
plan. Triple H. It only gives Stone Cold more power.
That was a Wile E. Coyote.
That was
Oh, that's right. That's when his arms turned into snakes. That's right.
and then on SmackDown, he I remember that episode because that happened on Raw, and then
Right.
on Thursday on SmackDown, that was when he blew up the DX
Yeah.
Express because he dropped the giant steel girder on it. He caught X-Pac. I think it was X-Pac
net.
in a net. He got somebody else in one of those old-fashioned traps that wrapped around his foot and hung it from the ceiling.
Rolled
Like
off.
Stone Cold just went through and dismantled
Wasn't Big
them.
Boss Man or didn't
Big Boss Man got hung.
hang somebody
He was,
in the middle of the ring?
the Undertaker hung him.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
A lot of
there's been many people have died.
A lot of characters have died over the course.
Remember when JBL literally just fucking killed Cena? Like, ran his limo
Yeah,
into Cena.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Cena was against a car,
And he ran a...
and he just ran right into Cena.
Yep.
Full speed.
But
And
how
everyone
does-
was like, oh my god,
But how-
he's seriously hurt. No, he's dead.
But how do you know he hit Cena?
Because they showed it. They literally... when you see Cena just groggy up against a car...
That's when he's not
and
there,
then
can see
you
him.
just
Oh,
see... Yeah.
so when Cena's asleep, he's visible? Oh, okay.
Like, Cena must use, like, instant transmission or something like that to just get out
Could
of
you
there.
imagine, like, if those time you see Cena's, like, when his eyes are closed, so, like, as he blinks, he just flashes?
Yeah. So there's been many... There's
Does
been,
like a rave.
they only save those somebody dies and then comes back for like very important people. But and Strowman's done it twice technically, because technically he got killed when he was in the ambulance too.
That's true.
And then he just miraculously came back.
All right, so
This has no bearing on what we're talking
yeah, we're not even talking about that. Anyway, predictions on the predictions.
Remember when Boss Man dragged Big Show's father's casket around?
Oh my god.
wow, that's gonna sound great on the podcast.
Anyway, so
Muffled laughter and
predictions on
explaining.
the actual match.
I mean, it'll most likely
Team Raw.
it'll most likely be Raw.
I feel like it's gonna be Raw. and
Even
squash.
though there's going to be obviously a point of it where Shane's going to be getting his revenge for Daniel Bryan. For
Probably.
being attacked and all
I
that. He'll
personally-
get that revenge moment where he starts whooping ass, but I think he's going to wind up being Raw.
I think it would be
Pulls it out.
cool if Daniel Bryan like kind of turns on Team SmackDown and like cost them the match, because I feel like that's kind of like the direction that they were heading. So
Does anybody else feel bad for Bryan, though, that he got choke slammed, but in the dark because he's not cleared to wrestle, but he had to take a fake choke slam?
well, he I don't know, man. It's
Choke
weird.
slammed him.
Kane apparently.
Oh.
Kane attacked him.
Kane attacked him in the dark. And
Because
he couldn't really see it.
the week before, SmackDown came to Raw and they tried to take over and fight everybody, and then the week after,
Under hashtag
Bryan came to Raw to kind of like apologize and try and smooth things out. So they put him in a room like, hey, and he was like, stay here, it's not safe. And when he left, lights go out. And then he turns on the light, and there's Kane. And it's choke slam. And then Bryan's getting wheeled down on a stretcher. Poor guy can't get cleared to wrestle. You have to take your choke slam, but we have to do it in the dark because you're not allowed to take a hit.
Why the hell is Kurt Angle away for weeks and he can get back in the ring?
But we all
right,
know-
Daniel, fine. You can take a choke set. Yes, in the dark.
But we all know Bryan just wanted to go home and be with his wife and kid. That's why he did that.
Yeah, maybe.
He's the damn show. That Divas, he loves being home with his wife.
Totally
he would rather be there than be at wrestling any day.
All right, so
All right, so
I think
four,
we're all in agreement. Team Raw is probably going to win that one.
Hands down.
yeah. Then we got 4 is the women's version
Team Raw.
where you have
That's like even more stacked.
where you have Raw is Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Suka, Sasha Banks, and to be determined.
It's probably going to be Paige.
Paige. Yeah, so
Default.
And then you have
Vacant.
SmackDown is Becky Lynch, Carmella, Charlotte, Naomi, and Tamina.
yeah, Team
With
Raw.
Lana, for some reason.
For some reason, Lana's there, yeah.
Lana's managing
I-
one of them, I guess.
Yeah, I'm honestly I'm more excited to watch that match than the men's match, just because there's more interesting
You know,
possibilities.
Cena's going to try to AA Strowman, so that's going to be one of the big spots in that first match. But
Wait,
that's
we're
not
talking
gonna-
about the women's match.
No, I'm saying that's the only reason you want to watch the men's match over that one.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it's not only that, but the women's matches, albeit predictable, you want to see what they're going to do.
There's more interesting matchups, especially
Yeah.
now with Asuka there. Like I would love to see Charlotte against Asuka. That would be awesome. Same thing with like Becky Lynch against Asuka, which is like weird. Like, I don't understand why they put Asuka on Raw rather than SmackDown. I mean, I understand the decision, but I feel like matchup wise, it would have been a better fit on SmackDown because she has more people that she hasn't wrestled on SmackDown.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good match, especially if Paige does come back and is a part of that match. It'd be really interesting to see, you know, how she stacks up against like a lot of those women now too. But yeah, I mean, I think Raw's gonna win that one. So mainly because you have two people that they want to protect under every circumstance in Nia and Asuka. So yeah, I'd say
if
Team Raw on that one.
if Raw loses, it's going to be because Nia and Asuka, something happened that they're no longer
I just don't
in
see
the match
Asuka,
somehow.
Yeah,
They're held up somehow.
I just
or-
don't see Asuka or Nia losing clean in that match.
But like I said, like if it, it's an elimination match, right?
Yeah, it's a
I
little
mean,
So,
you can have
so it's not even a tag match. So
multiple
yeah, it can be.
people still active on the winning team, so
That's what I'm
They
saying.
probably
Yeah,
have.
Yeah, but even then, you'd have to expect, say, if they got rid to the point where it's only Nia and Asuka, you're looking at the other girls that have to take out everybody else except those two,
yeah. I don't think
and
it's
then
happening.
it's
That's
gonna be
probably
sad.
how it's going to end up happening. Is it's going to be those two against the rest of the SmackDown team or something like that.
At least
And then
probably
Asuka just
eliminate
destroys
first.
everyone.
right.
I just really want to see Asuka just annihilate everyone.
and just because it's the women's match, I'm tired of Alicia Fox. Her thing is
she's
just
probably going
old,
to be the first one
quick.
eliminated. Yeah, it's probably going to be the first one eliminated.
This psychotic
just fucking said
captain thing, and she's just annoying.
All right.
And then, 5
I think we're all in agreement for Team Raw that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we got 5 is Mr. Enzo versus Kalisto.
Oh, for the cruiserweight?
Yeah.
Enzo's gonna win.
It's
Enzo's
another match that
Enzo's
I do
probably
not
gonna
care
win.
about. As much as I do like Enzo, I think he's hilarious. I like him. I don't care about this
Yeah,
match
the
at all.
cruiserweight division just isn't I think we talked about this last podcast, but the cruiserweight division is just such a, especially now that Neville left.
Yep.
So, which that
'Cause
was
he
an
got
occurrence.
upset.
Yeah,
He
so
pulled the CM Punk without dropping
Yeah,
the pipe bomb.
he basically just walked out. So that was a huge blow to the cruiserweight division.
It's like they haven't let him go, so he might show up again. Like they haven't suspended him. There's
No,
reports
he
of it.
just walked out.
He's
Yeah,
gone.
he's still under contract. Yeah, he is still under contract. But yeah, I don't expect to see him come back. But yeah, no, like I said, I don't really care. Enzo's most likely going to win just because he's the reason why that show is even getting views.
He's way more entertaining than Kalisto. Kalisto's boring.
Yeah,
He's just a generic, to me, a rip-off of Rey Mysterio.
yeah, pretty much. What's the next match?
Then you got 6 is the tag champions versus champions.
Oh yeah, Cesaro and Sheamus against the Usos. I almost forgot. about
Nobody cares about that match.
that. What do you mean? I think
I like the Usos.
Yeah,
I've always liked the
I'm
Usos, but their
sorry,
new thing, I
but-
like their new thing a lot.
2 heel teams against one another is not.
Yeah, but the difference is like say, let's compare this to like Miz against Baron Corbin. These are actually 2 teams that can have a very entertaining match. So and I don't know. I think they are going to have a very good match. So
I mean,
for
Sheamus
what it is,
Cesaro will probably end up being almost the default face in the match.
I mean, considering
probably.
Because people love watching them. Even
But
though
I don't know
they're
because the Usos have been getting some cheers too lately. Like they've been getting some cheers, especially after the Hell in a Cell match with New Day, which is an excellent match. I don't know. I personally think it's going to be an entertaining match.
I mean, a couple beach balls and.
Oh yeah,
just looking here, I mean, obviously they have one more week before the pay-per-view, so they could put on another match, throw in another one in the card. But as we said, Shield's not here.
Yeah, and Jeff Hardy's out,
Right.
So it's like you can't have the Hardys win the titles.
Right, but you have the Shield's not on the card at all. So
That's probably
chances
gonna be
are,
tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I'm saying, let's say at a match, if this is the official card that I'm looking at, this is it. If this is what their matches are going to be, then you know the Shield's going to get involved in that tag match.
I don't know. I think they're going to have their.
They're going to interfere somehow.
I don't know. I think they're going to have their hands full with the New Day match. So
So,
I mean, if they don't ban,
you think the Shield can't interfere both?
they probably can.
It's the Shield.
I mean, it's the Shield. They can do whatever they want, really.
It's the Shield.
So, but yeah, no, I don't know. I think for what it is, that match should be good. Personally, I really wish Jeff Hardy wasn't injured because the Usos versus the Hardys would have been a much better match in terms of build-up, because that would have been, you would have had the Usos, who've been like the staple tag team for the past, I don't know, what, like 7-8 years already, against the Hardys, you know, one of the best tag teams of all time. I think that would have been a much more fascinating matchup. But for what it is, I think it's going to be a good match. I predict the Usos winning that one. Because they've
I
been,
can see that.
yeah, I think they've been on a hot streak, and Cesaro and Sheamus. The creative team doesn't really know what to do with them, so I feel like the momentum for the Usos would make more sense.
Their entire gimmick revolves around them with their thumb going sideways.
So, yeah. So we've got.
beach balls.
So we're looking at the Usos beating Sheamus and Cesaro. That's pretty much an agreement around the board.
unless Sheamus goes on a brogue kicking spree.
Now-
He doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, not really.
Does New Day have a match at Survivor Series?
No.
Not yet,
officially, but it's pretty.
So it'll most likely be
like
Shield.
99%, it's going to be New Day against Shield.
Okay. And then the last one that's on here as a list as the lineup is the Lesnar versus Styles.
Yeah,
Which
is going to be the most interesting match.
It's interesting. I mean, obviously, Jinder pissed off the universe or McMahon or somebody that they did that time promoting this Lesnar fight and booking it and him having his promos that were boring.
I don't think it's so much. I don't think it's so much that
he
he pissed anyone off. I think it was just Vince decided, all right, there's no excitement building up for this match. Nobody really cares for this match.
Well, that's fine, but I'm saying, but you go through a month and a half, 2 months of building
we're
up
building
that.
it up, yeah.
They've been
But it
a
was
week
also
and a half before. Sorry, gone. We got AJ Styles.
it was also 3 weeks of Paul Heyman burying Jinder. So and everyone in like the entire audience being yes, we agree with you.
No, I get that. I understand what I'm saying. It's just weird that they put that much into it for building it.
About the only way you wouldn't agree with Paul Heyman on a program to come out and say doing a great job. The crowd be like,
"Whoa, keep politics out of this, homie."
If it's going to
stop.
If it look, it's to the point where Vince probably saw it was going to affect network buys, pay-per-view buys, and all that.
Well, no, I know, but that's what I'm saying. So he must have really been doing bad where Vince is like, yo, we can't have this.
Exactly.
Because they spent a month and a half of them building this match between him and Lesnar. But I mean, but
building as much as it's...
But if they're doing promos, they're trying to build towards it.
They were trying to make it work.
Yeah. They're wasting money and airtime on this match.
They were
building. Because they could have built a nice match with Styles and Lesnar. They could have done a really good build-up, but they were going with Jinder. And then it's like a week and a half before, yo, we're swapping out. So obviously the numbers must have gone really bad on Jinder's side. Or maybe India lost power for a week and they didn't get those ratings from there. Something happened that Jinder was not.
Or they're setting up something bigger. And I think that that's what it comes down to, that they're setting up something bigger. Because when you have a field full of people like Braun Strowman for Lesnar to run through on Raw, how do you get any other guy into there? I think that this gives you an opportunity for other people to get involved to perhaps start a feud with Lesnar. So maybe you see Gallows and Anderson, or maybe you see Balor come out to help Styles.
Yeah, it could be a segue into
a fake Bullet Club.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It could be a segue into a Rumble match between Finn and Brock. Maybe Brock wants to work with a guy around Finn's size, and AJ Styles obviously is the clear best. And to see how that match goes, and then it's probably like a whole feeling out process. So it's like killing two birds with one stone, because you have a better match on the card now that's gaining a lot more intrigue and more people want to watch. And B, it's setting up for something down the line between possibly Brock and Finn, which would be good too. So, and personally, I would like to see. I think Finn and maybe Gallows and Anderson are going to get involved in the match somehow. Maybe cost Brock the match, something like that, which would be huge. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
As much as I hate Styles, he'll probably get it. They'll probably have him pull it off.
I think he'll.
I'd like to see him pull it off.
I think he'll win, but I don't think it's going to be a clean victory. Obviously,
let me make this clear. My hate for Styles is because every time he comes on TV, I have to hear my wife say, "Oh, he's so cute," and yada 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 about him and his hair and his eyes.
The soccer mom haircut.
Oh, she loves it. And his eyes, him and Roman, the eyes. I hate them all.
It's not just fair for her, because I'm sure you do the same thing. But
I do it in my head. I'm polite.
Oh. So when your eyes are glued to the TV and the drool's coming out of your mouth, you think that because you don't say it, it's okay.
Exactly.
You think because you don't say it, it's okay if she doesn't know what you're thinking.
She has no idea. I'm thinking about pizza for all she knows. I get excited about that.
Listen, you got to do what I do and just have your wife sit in the other room while you're watching something like that.
But she sits and watches at the computer table doing her school stuff or her work stuff, and somebody's music comes on. And she looks over because she watches Divas, so she likes to watch the girls fight. And then certain wrestlers come out, she has to see them. Cena, Orton, Reigns.
Wait, how does she see Cena?
Oh, she can see Cena. She sees Cena. And then, and now AJ Styles. And it gets really annoying. Someone's getting passed around the table. It's making people laugh.
What is this?
Little Haiti. Share with the followers. Share with our viewers.
We're recording this, and I looked at my phone. The goddamn New Orleans Saints just ended the entire city of Buffalo.
Oh,
it's 47-3 with like 10 minutes left.
Okay, well now you guys know when we recorded this and during that game.
Oh God.
But my wife, her love for certain wrestlers really makes me hate them. Especially Randy Orton. Oh my God. No, you have no idea. I sit there, Randy Orton's music comes on. I'm like, okay, here comes Orton. And she has to roll in her chair over. Oh, it's Orton. Okay. Oh, look at his bulge. Really, babe? Every time.
Are you saying that your wife would love to be RKO'd out of nowhere?
Oh, she would. she'd be all over that.
You wouldn't even see it coming.
No. Hopefully you didn't see
It's
it.
out of nowhere.
I wouldn't want to see it, but she'd love it. Oh, yeah.
All right.
I just like AJ Styles because he has the best music in the company right now, and I'm gonna have to steal it when I get the next video game.
All right. So what's everybody's thoughts on that match? What predictions do you guys think?
I think that Styles goes over, but not cleanly. I
Same.
think that I don't know. I don't remember if WWE bought part of the Bullet Club trademark or bought the ability to use it.
They did not.
But I think it would be a fantastic opportunity to give a nod to the fans and have the club come out, whether they just call it the club or whatever. This would be their opportunity to do it.
Yeah, because the Bullet Club is super popular right now. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen.
Omega.
I don't know what it's not just Kenny Omega. It's Bullet Club shirts in general. They're like the new NWO shirts.
In
like,
the
I don't know.
crowd,
So,
yeah.
WWE doesn't pan away from.
Yeah, if you see the crowds at events like at on TV and everything, Bullet Club shirts everywhere, man.
How about the Bullshit Club shirts?
Bullshit Club shirts. What is that?
The, what's their names? Crime Time and their new shirts. The poop shirts.
I have not seen.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah,
even know Crime Time was still a
Crime
thing.
Time?
No,
That's a thing now?
they challenged the Young Bucks or whatever, and they have the Bullet, like their Bullet Club shirts, but they have the poop emoji.
I didn't
with
even
the
know. I
headbands.
didn't even know JTG and Shad were still wrestling.
Apparently, and they
So,
challenged the
that's-
Young Bucks.
Where was I when
hilarious.
this happened?
Yeah.
I'm watching this.
Yo, Crime Time needs to come back.
Let's be honest. Crime Time was only good when they dealt with DX.
Crime Time was hilarious, man. I love that. I love that tag team.
Crime Time and New Day
So-
would be the funniest tags. All right.
So anyway, this is a nice segue into the next topic, which is Wrestle Kingdom 12, the big announcement between Kenny Omega taking on Chris Jericho, Alpha versus Omega. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
To be completely honest, when it comes down to this level of wrestling, I don't pay attention to it. I know the only way I know Kenny Omega is because he went on at one of those gaming conventions and beat
CEO
Xavier Woods.
That I was at, yeah, I was there.
Oh, you were there when he beat Xavier Woods in Street Fighter or whatever?
Dude, I took pictures of it, man.
Oh, I don't know timeline as to when I watched the video versus when you were there. I don't know if it was a different one
It was
or.
like my Facebook profile for like 3 months.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ, man.
But yeah, so that's the only way I know Kenny Omega. I haven't watched really any of his matches. My brother raves about him.
Yeah,
Like he's the best thing in the
Omega
world.
He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Not the best. He's just amazing. So it's gonna be.
Supposed to be Jericho putting him over though, right? Because Jericho
Oh,
was
yeah.
putting people over.
Oh yeah, for sure. I there's no if it's a one and done deal, then there's absolutely no reason why Jericho should win this match.
I don't
It
think
wouldn't
there's
make any sense.
absolutely any reason he will win. Like I don't. They're not going to book Wrestle Kingdom with Jericho going over Omega
because this is
at all.
this is like the premier match. Like,
Yeah.
This is the main event. Well, not technically. It's not the main event. The main event's going to be Naito against Okada, which is like the champion. So, but this is definitely going to be like the headline card. This is like the Rock and John Cena level type of like main event card. So, but
Rock versus
yeah,
Rock.
yeah, it's a huge deal for New Japan. Definitely gonna get a lot of buys that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise, for sure. And I personally think it's gonna be an incredible match, just because Jericho, even at 45, he can still wrestle his ass off. So
because he doesn't wrestle as much.
yeah,
And
well, because he's been
that's what
smart
it
about
is.
it.
Yeah, no, but that's what it is. The
Yeah.
reason he can do so well still is because he takes time off and he only takes the matches that he wants, and he has a plan in mind. I was watching an interview with him a couple of years ago. He said that when he gets into a program with anybody, he's already planned it out in his head.
Yeah.
So he's like, this is the person I want to come back. This is the person I want to work with. This is how we're going to do it. And if I can help them to the next step, then that's what I'm going to do.
And he works safe. He's one of the safest workers in the business, and that's just how he has been for the past 15 years. So he's just, I don't know. It's going to be really, really good to see him like kind of out of his element, so out of a WWE ring, because that's usually, I don't know if you guys ever watched a lot of his older stuff when he was in Japan, like during his younger years, but that like he did incredible stuff in Japan during those days, and even in Mexico too. But I mean, obviously he's not going to be doing the same kind of stuff he was when he was 20, but it's still going to be really, really cool to see them do a kind of a Japanese style of wrestling, because their wrestling style is very different than the WWE style. So Chris Jericho's not going to have the same kind of limitations that he does in WWE.
When it comes,
He can work a little bit riskier than he does in WWE.
when it comes to Jericho, like I've always been a fan of his, but recently with the fact that the Walls of Jericho was used like in a UFC match, like you guys not see this?
Yeah,
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
It was like it was the crappy Walls of Jericho.
The Boston crowd.
Yeah, the Boston.
Yeah,
the Boston.
but still, like, even the announcers like, the Walls of Jericho, like they're in the match.
so
guy,
weird.
he actually
What?
made.
Yeah,
the
but he
back-
made him tap from
Did
it.
he get a tap?
Yeah,
because he bent them back. I mean, he was putting some torque on that
Well,
guy's
obviously,
back.
yeah. You can kill somebody.
so like after seeing that, I was like, damn, you know what? It's one of those like from Jericho's like you see the moves like all right, but once you see somebody using a real match, and like yeah, that shit's serious. Maybe respect Jericho even more because that shit's serious.
The guy in the UFC, his new shirt is going to say "Tap or Die."
That's
Tap or die. No, you know what? I will say that I'm going to do what I can to watch this match. Like there aren't a lot of things that will definitely get me to tune into a wrestling event. I mean, every year I watch WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, but I'm gonna watch this one because I'm hoping to see some of the old Jericho. In the early 2000s, Jericho was one of my favorite wrestlers. He was good on the mic. He was good in the ring. But I just feel like something happened after that where I don't know if it was...
you just got
if
old,
it was... Well, no. I don't know if it was Vince said you can't do this stuff anymore or if he just stopped doing it. But, for instance, the Walls of Jericho used to look incredibly brutal. And then it started just being a Boston Crab. There was nothing new about it. And I'm hoping to see some of Jericho jumping off the one side of the ropes to the other side, his old triangle kick. I want to see that. I'd love to see his lion salt. Like, I want to see the old school Jericho moves and not kind of like the watered down, we have to all be safe Jericho we've got in the last 10 years.
Would it help if he wears pants?
I think he's in Japan, he'll have to wear pants, I think.
you had to bring up the
We're not
pants.
really
bringing
had
up
to do
pants
it.
anymore, man.
I was trying to get him triggered.
No.
I mean, I'm curious to see if when he walks out on the stage for his Wrestle Kingdom debut, if it will be like his WWF debut, where he gets hit in the side of the face with a beer. But because he's in Japan, he'll get hit in the side of the face with a bottle of sake.
Japanese fans are a little bit more respectful.
Oh, I remember that. That was hilarious. He comes walking down like he's the
He's
shit.
about to say something.
Yeah. And you know that beer was like $9-10. Like that guy who threw that beer really didn't like him. It's like I have to waste this money.
It's still nothing compared to like Kevin Nash getting hit in the face like a full size like super sized cup of like Diet Coke, smashing him in the face live on Nitro. That was hilarious.
Well,
I don't recall
didn't
that.
Nash
That
get
happened many times actually.
didn't Nash get a rock in the face at an MTV?
They got pegged
They got
by
all
so
kinds of
much
stuff going
stuff
on.
during those days. But anyway, but that match I think is going to be an incredible match. If it's getting you to watch it like live, then it's doing its job. Obviously, it's getting everyone hyped up about it, and people that don't normally watch New Japan are going to be watching this match strictly because it's Jericho. So,
Absolutely. I also think that there's like a hidden thing. I think that Jericho is going to push real hard to get Kenny Omega to come back to the States and join WWE when his contract is up. I mean, there was talk that he might come before, but he ended up signing another year deal, I believe. I think that Jericho's going to be working on him a lot. Hey, imagine the money you could make over here with Styles. Imagine what you could do. Imagine, all the possibilities.
yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, me personally, obviously, I would love to see Kenny Omega in a WWE ring because he's just an outstanding performer, probably the best in the world, just in terms of everything. In terms of both wrestling ability and just character, his charisma, he just oozes charisma. And but at the same time, he has stated that he wants to take New Japan to that next level. He wants New Japan to succeed and become a key rival to WWE. And I feel like having Jericho on this card is going to lead to that.
But isn't that
Could lead to that.
But that's like almost the exact same thing that Balor said about NXT when they first asked him about moving up. He gave almost that exact same speech. I'm here. I want this to be my brand. I
Yeah,
want
but
to push it to
it's
where
not-
it can go.
it's not the same
And then like
thing
2
now.
weeks later, oh look, here he is on Raw.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing because NXT obviously is a WWE owned brand.
Or no, I'm
it's
just saying.
gonna-
But I would say what he said was very much the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well, he wanted NXT to be just a separate brand. He wanted to be NXT like Raw and SmackDown just separately.
Right.
It kind of is now, but at the same time, it's like New Japan really needs that oomph to get to that kind of same level. I don't think it ever is going to reach that level, just because WWE is so huge and so global, and NJPW is still kind of in its own little world, in its own little bubble in Japan.
It's never going to hit the mark that WWE has because it's never going to hit the American market. It's not.
Boy,
The
it
rest
has
of-
hit the American market.
No,
it's
but
just
what I'm
not-
saying is it's not. The style is different, like you said earlier. The style of wrestling there is different, and in Japan, that's what they're accustomed to. That's what they want. That's what their preference is. But here in America, there's a lot of crossover between wrestling fans and UFC fans. When they want that little bit more realism, when they want more risk, when they want more danger, when they want more like physicality, they'll turn on UFC. When they want just, fun story, they're going to go to WWE. And if WWE reaches everywhere, and while New Japan does reach everywhere as well, it's not going to have the foothold. I would argue it should never expect the foothold that WCW had. It could probably compete with what ECW was in their heyday, but even that wasn't enough to push past WWF
No, for sure.
and WCW.
No, for sure. I mean, I 100% agree with you. I don't think it will ever get to that level. But like I said, this having Jericho in that card is a step in the right direction. Is what I should say. So it definitely is going to get their name out there a lot more than it already is, which it kind of is because, like I said, you see all these people with Bullet Club shirts. They know what Bullet Club is. So obviously they know they might not watch NJPW on a regular basis, but they know, hey, the Young Bucks are there. Hey, Kenny Omega's there. Hey, Cody Rhodes is there. Hey, Mighty Skrull's there. Like, they have all these guys that they know are there. So they will watch it every now and then. And NJPW does have, English commentary on their shows. So they have, I think, Kevin Kelly and somebody else doing commentary for them, which they do a good job. Sometimes they have Jim Ross too. They used to. So, but
It's only a matter of time before those guys are back in America.
yeah, I mean, for sure, NJPW is number 2 right now. They're way better than TNA for sure. They're better than ROH. So they are at the number 2 level right now. It's just the discrepancy between them and WWE is so large that it's just, I feel like it's never going to reach that same level as WWE.
Yeah, versus where it was WWF thing.
Yeah, where
Right behind was WCW. Couldn't beat them, but was close.
well,
And you had
WCW was
EC
beating them for a while.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean once
So-
the Attitude Era smacked.
Once they
that was
started to
it.
pull away, like that's when.
But
for
then
sure.
you had ECW further down. But now it's like you got WWF or WWE. Then you've got the Japan one. Then Ring of Honor, and like real close to each other to a point.
Yeah,
So it's like they're the best of the smaller
for sure.
divisions.
I would argue as soon as Lesnar is done with wrestling's going to change. I mean, all those guys that are in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. You talk about Cody Rhodes, you talk about the Young Bucks and all that. I think that as soon as Lesnar's like, I'm done in a year or two, because when he's done, he's done.
Yeah, he's already 40.
Yeah,
so,
like when he's getting to the point where he's going to be done. He's only doing it now because he enjoys it.
and he makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of
but
money.
then I honestly believe that Strowman's going to become a spectacle. He's going to be like the Undertaker. It's not going to matter if he ever challenges for the title. He'll have a couple title runs, obviously, but then it's going to be more like the Undertaker. Well, it doesn't matter if he's challenging for the title. It's just people are going to show up to watch him. Same thing with Big Show, and then we're going to have guys like when Big Show first came in, people showed up to watch him because he was so much bigger than everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never cared.
In WCW days when he first
Okay.
debuted,
I was saying with
because he was a freak of nature.
yeah, I wasn't the WCW guy.
It was
Yeah,
like
he beat Hogan his debut.
Yeah, it was like
he beat
Andre
Hogan
the
for
Giant.
Yeah,
People, like, you have these certain guys that are just spectacles in wrestling. People show up to watch them, whether they're challenging for the title, what their record is, just because it's the idea of seeing this person. And I think that's what's going to happen with Strowman. And at that point, you're going to have guys like Kenny Omega and AJ Styles headlining Raw.
and maybe
battling
even
each
some
other
of
for
those
the
other,
championship.
and maybe even some of those other like NJPW guys will come over, like Young Bucks, or even some of the Japanese stars like Okada. I know Vince has expressed his interest in Okada just because Okada is so different than the other Japanese stars. He's 6'2". He has a great look. He's young. He's like 25 or something like that. So he would be awesome in WWE ring. But like I said, we don't know if that's ever going to happen because he's so loyal to NJPW, and they really do want NJPW to succeed. So we just don't know if that's ever going to happen. I think eventually it will. It's because the money is there, and they, especially when they're nearing the end of their careers, kind of like the situation that AJ was in, where he's like, well, I'm already 37, I only have a few years left. I might as well just go and do this, make as much money as I can, have fun doing it. And that's
I think Sting influenced him a lot because Sting has said that there were times he thinks he should have gone to WWE, like when WCW went down. He's like, there were times I should have went and I was close to going, and something always stopped me. And now looking back, I wish that I had gone to have some of those matches I wanted to have that I could never have now. My prediction is, I guess we're probably getting close to wrapping this up.
Yeah.
My prediction is that within 3 years, we're going to see Omega and Styles headlining a WrestleMania. That's going to be the match. It's going to be championship match, whether it's for SmackDown or Raw, but it's going to be the WrestleMania headline within 3 years. Omega and Styles. WrestleMania.
That'd be awesome.
Mark down your calendars, folks. Let's see if he's right.
What year is this now? 2017?
Yeah.
By 2020.
2020.
Mark it down.
All right, so I think that's where we're coming to the end of this. Nothing else I can think of off the topics that we discussed earlier that we wanted to go over, or am I wrong?
No, I think we're good.
I think that's it. I think we covered everything. So probably be seeing you guys after Survivor Series, seeing how the predictions roll out, see if there was any surprises, which I'm sure there probably will be.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that I know we have at least one loyal listener who messages me often to upload the podcast. I just want to let everybody know that we are trying to get on a better schedule and make these happen a little more often.
There was this thing called a hurricane. Y'all gonna have to forgive us.
Yeah, we did have a hurricane. That's true. And then Psycho and I had to go to a wedding, and then he has some things he had to do for work and other,
It's like
not just a hurricane. But so we're going to try and get them out more as well as our other podcasts. So just bear with us as we get something worked out and you get actual groove going here. You got anything, Psycho?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, on that note, this is Wheezy signing out.
Just for some Cuban guy.
This little Eddie, peace out.
Enforcer, have a wonderful day.
This is Mr. Psycho. Thanks for listening.
All right, guys. See you later.
Please don't sue us. We broke.